Hello everyone, this will be a video response to a question I just received. This will be to, this guy's name is Matt, but his YouTube name is Dharma Youth 91. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to go ahead and read this question and then answer it. Okay, alright, so hey Moses, I'm very early on in my language learning course, but thus far I think I'm doing something wrong. When I try to speak and write, the first thing I do is think about what I want to say in English in my head, then try to transliterate my English thought into the target language. And oftentimes it turns out horrible since many times you can't express the same thought from English to language. From what I have read, this is the wrong way to go about thinking of foreign languages. I should try to think and act purely in target language. My question is, do you have any exercise or words of advice to help stop my brain from thinking in English, then attempting to transliterate? Have you had any students that did the same thing? Will it just go away with more experience in the language? Thanks for all the support and contributions to learning foreign languages. Matt. All right, that's a very good question, Mr. I don't know, Matt. That's a very good question because just last week I had the same conversation with one of my students. We were talking about like thinking too much in English and then directly translating from English to the target language. So this language we were talking about, Japanese. You can't really. I think it's natural at the beginning that happens for beginners. When they start speaking a language, they try to think in English. You can't do that. Like, I will advise you to whatever you learn, try to stick with that, because I think it happens most of the time. It happens when you're trying to make up your own. You're trying to make up your own sentences, and you would directly translate it from English to that target language. So I think what you should do is just focus on just try to use, like, whatever you're trying to translate, think of what you've learned in that language and try to use it that way. Stick to that construction, because if you try new stuff, then you will go back and make that mistake of using your native language, translating directly from your native language into the targeted language. So yeah, just stick with the constructions you've learned in that language, and then just do it that way. Like, for example, one of my students, he does this a lot. He thinks in English a lot. Like, for Japanese, for example, if you say something like, "Watashi no saifu ga nakunatte kanashiku narasemashita." "Watashi no saifu ga nakunatte kanashiku narasemashita." So, like, I lost my wallet, and it made me. I lost my wallet, and it made me sad. And see, in Japanese, they don't say, they wouldn't say kanashiku narasemasu. Like, that means that, let me see, it means that you were made to become sad, but they wouldn't say kanashiku narasemashita. They will say kanashiku sasemashita instead of saying kanashiku narasemashita, because a naru on the end means to become. So it's like made become sad. So he was doing that, and like me, I did it too, like I try to use other ways of saying make you do this, make you do that, or any other construction. I try to think of some new ways, but I ended up going back to English, directly translating it. So I think it would just be best to stick with what you've learned and try not to add more stuff to it. Now, they will understand, of course, but it's not natural. They will tell you it's not natural. They don't say it that way. And the reason why it's not natural is because you went back to your native language and try to translate it from that. So that's my advice. Just try to stick with the constructions you've learned before. So other than that, yeah, I don't have any exercises for this, but just yeah, I don't like to make it sound like I'm saying stay in the box, because I encourage students to go outside the box and experiment. So it's good to experiment. There's nothing wrong with experimenting. You can actually do that, to experiment, and then when you go to a chat room, use it, and then ask the native speaker if it makes sense or is it natural. They will tell you if it's natural or not. and then ask them what's the most natural way to say that, and they will tell you. So yeah, most of the time when you do that, it's not going to come out natural. So, but yeah, but just continue to experiment. You know, continue to mix those chemicals, because that's how I look at it. Mixing chemicals in the lab, and you just, you know, after you mix those chemicals in the lab, then you go to the battlefield and then see how it turns out. Okay, but yeah, that will conclude this video. And any of you guys have any more questions or whatnot, I will try my best to get back to you ASAP. Thanks for viewing the video.